I believe it was 44 members of the gang. The other 20 or so who weren't arrested yesterday were, they were already in prison or awaiting charges.
What are they going to do with them?
You know, they'll all be, they're being charged.
Would you like a sign?
Yes. Okay, really quick. Shh. Go ahead.
So they're being charged. There was an indictment that was unsealed yesterday. It's a long process. This raid was the result of I believe it was a nearly 3-year operation.
Oh my God.
So they've been working on this for a long time.
One more question. Go ahead.
Real quick on KFI, I was listening to, they were asking a question about how many were illegal aliens or not, and they didn't have a definite number, but there was some mention that there were some. Do you have any clarification?
That's correct. The acting U.S. attorney, she said there was a significant amount. They didn't have an exact number, but they said a significant amount. We spoke with them. That's in our story. We don't have an exact number quite yet, but they don't know either. They haven't asked the status of everyone.
That's kind of scary in itself. Yeah. Would you mind recording in the meantime? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Haley. I want you to get back to recording.
Thank you. I have a lot of confidence now with this report. I actually read a story. It was about 3 weeks old. They focused on Pueblo, Colorado, which had been a blue stronghold since Nixon, and actually went for Trump. Wow. It's Colorado. It is Colorado, but that just goes to show that Trump is really breaking down the blue wall, not just the Rust Belt. Okay, so there's that. I want to just report a few things really quick. You guys had a great guy named Tom Paulser here last month. I had been through so many slips and falls, I just needed a break. From my camera getting stolen. You guys have been such troopers. I don't get to complain. If you're a veteran, raise your hand if you're a veteran. Really quick, if you are a veteran, okay, I'm not going to complain. Thank you for your service. I apologize. Your service is the ultimate. Thank you again. So there is the Stop Top 2 movement. It is gaining momentum. We must stop this Top 2 jungle primary. That is why, if you're in Luke Correa's district, some of you are from Orange County, correct? Yeah. You had a choice between a radical leftist Vietnamese and an establishment leftist former state senator. We just can't have this. And how many Republicans were running for U.S. Senate in the general election? Zero. Because of this jungle primary. It's got to go. This will be a nice turnout for us in 2018. So make sure to follow Stop Top 2. We have cards in the back, so please make sure to get one. So how many knew that there was a town hall that Maxine Waters had hosted this past weekend? I don't know who went to that town hall. Yeah, here are the flyers, which I didn't get in the mail. Dura was there. She did a great job recording it. Wave really quickly, Dura. And Janet was there, and I was there, and Hareem was there. They're also coming. We got LA for time. They're a little late because it's LA. These are published at taxpayers' expense, by the way. And this taxpayer was thrown out for no good reason. And it was even worse for Hareem and a friend of mine named Jesse Suave. He drove all the way from Walnut, okay, up there in the northeastern part of the state, county. So that went full blast. Omar, who is running for Congress, not only got a lot of cred out of it, we got a lot of feedback. It supported us. So even if I didn't say anything, a lot of people got to see even better. She looked really bad. She got triggered. We went to her house. That poster was front row center in front of her mansion. Someone hold the poster up really quick so people can see it. Yeah, Daryl will do it. So Maxine Waters, go to hell. I think it's time to give her a taste of her own medicine, because she had said the Tea Party can go straight to hell, and she never apologized for it. So I said, well, maybe you should go to hell. And a lot of people feel that way too. She lives in a $4.3 million mansion, while the unemployment is an average of 20% in her district, which she does not live in. So Omar is getting incredible coverage nationally, social media. People in the district are warming up to help him out. So she's getting scared. Let's just put it that way. So that was really exciting. Hope you had a chance to see that. How many know who this guy is? Kevin De Leon. Fuera. So he had an event at UC Riverside. How many of you were at that event? You guys need to start coming with us, and we let you know. I send out e-blasts to the team so you know about this.
How much fun we have.
And we had so much fun. You know, I was always the good boy in school, but I didn't have to be a good boy that day. And we shouted them down when they lied, because we don't disrupt. But when they lie, we will not sit silently. When they tell illegal aliens that you have constitutional rights, hell no! That is a lie. It is a brazen lie, and we cannot allow the corruption of our national charter. We call that out. The guests at that meeting included a man who had been convicted of voter fraud. And he is now a protege with the state Senate President Pro Tem. The same guy who said, my family they have to use fake IDs and they have to steal social security numbers just to survive. The same guy. This is what we're dealing with. But the good news already. This bill has for greater intents and purposes stalled. We have some real opportunity to kill this thing. And I called the Rules Committee last week, and they haven't given it a date yet to assign it.
Still being held at the desk.
Held at the desk. You need to call. Who has the Senator De Leon's phone numbers?
April 4th, it's been held at the desk.
Get it, Mike. Get it.
Right here. These are the numbers to call. We went to his LA office a few days ago. So he likes to have borders, but we're not supposed to have borders. His staffers told us to get out of the office and wouldn't even tell us when the hours for its closing. We stayed there and expected an answer, and then they called the police on us. But they don't deal with the illegals here. This is how crazy it's become. Take a picture of this, make sure you share it, you tweet it, you do everything short of screaming it and then burning it on somebody's flesh. We need to do this. De Leo, and here's something else I want to do. So really quick, make sure of that. One of these days, what I'd like us to do, he had a problem with 6 people. What would happen if maybe 100 of us showed up?
600.
How about 600? Well, if you're an open borders guy, why can't we stay in your office? You don't believe in borders, do you? So these are the things we have to start impressing on them. Sacramento lives in a different world, not the real one, and we're paying for it with that gas tax. And speaking of which, beyond that, we'll be getting you notices out. They are going after the state senator in northern LA County called Josh Newman. We are getting the recall together for that. So that we're going to join with Carl DeMaio and other people's efforts to get rid of that guy too. More information is coming on that. So there you go. Really quick.
I'd like everybody in this room, if you would all write this number down and call him. That's his Sacramento office. That's his Sunset Boulevard office.
Sacramento's on top, LA's on the bottom.
So
And what do you want us to say?
just say whatever you want. Say, do you wear a toupee?
Shelve the sanctuary state bill.
Stop Senate Bill 54. That's the sanctuary state bill.
There's a sign back there, right there. It says, no on 54.
Yeah, no on 54.
Okay.
They won't answer any of your questions. You can ask them any question you want.
Jam the phones.
Just everybody in this room
Burn
call
the
both
line.
these
Yes.
numbers.
He's the
Everybody in this
author
room
of the
do it.
sanctuary state
Absolutely. And just to give you a window into this, we have city councils that are passing legislation against them. They're passing clear resolutions in opposition to it.
Glendora?
Glendora was one of them. They already had to change parts of it, but here's the thing you need to understand how serious this bad bill is.
Yeah.
Okay, there are a number of felonies which will still be protected, like raping someone who's unconscious, stealing IDs. If you have an explosive on you, but you don't succeed in detonating it at the building, they won't deport you. They won't release you to ICE. It's a long list of felonies and every misdemeanor you can think of, too. This bill will ensure that those individuals don't get deported or reported to ICE. We cannot have this. We have a sheriff already in El Dorado County who has clearly announced, if this bill passes, I will not comply. And the sheriff in Kern County has indicated something similar, as well as in Ventura County. Even our liberal LA County sheriff opposes this bill. So that should tell you something. So, want to leave that? Make sure you have that burned in your mind. Call his office. Jam the phones really quick. Yes, Randy?
Who are the sheriffs? Which state? What counties?
So, let me tell you about that later, okay?
Colorado.
Yes. All right, so here we go. Let me get my first case. We've got a lot of great things going on here. So, one more thing. I have to share this. We have to recognize that the Democratic Party is now the Communist Party. Does anybody disagree with me on that? They are totally communistic. They support the destruction of marriage, the destruction of life, removing all sexual mores, other cultural mores, pushing them aside, taxing the rich and funding the poor to stay poor, open borders. You can look at the Communist Manifesto from 1963, and they have checked off every single one. But here's good news. I saw this today. I cried when I saw this for joy. There was a bill in the state assembly passed from an Alameda County Democrat. Alameda County is bluer than San Francisco. It's bad. Barbara Lee, bad. She represents that area. So this was a bill that would allow card-carrying communists to serve in the state government again. The author pulled the bill yesterday. And who led the fight for that? The Vietnamese community in Southern California, who fled from commie regimes that killed millions, and the Vietnam veterans. We are harnessing power in this state again. We are not going to embrace or permit communism to have a chokehold in our state. It's called loosening the grip, and it just happened yesterday. So with that, I'm going to get my long line of guests. You got about 3 to 5. Let me start with a gentleman named Joseph Turner.
Okay.
He can give a better intro than I ever could. Please give him a hand. I'll start with him.
Well, thank you for having me. Basically, I don't know where to start. I got involved in illegal immigration back in 1994 when I was a high school senior. I gave a Pro 187 speech at my high school in Riverside, which was pretty interesting. And then I got involved and met Robin in 2004. Robin and I go back to 2004 when I started to Save Our State. And Robin's amazing. If you guys don't know her, she's probably the most active activist in the entire nation, and I'm not exaggerating. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
That's not exaggeration, really. It's not. So I started Save Our State back in 2004, and I wrote something called the Illegal Immigration Relief Act in 2005, which was copied by dozens of jurisdictions across the country. It was the first ever known attempt to use the local initiative process to crack down on illegal immigration. And it was copied by Lou Barletta in Hazleton, Pennsylvania, who became a congressman. Farmers Branch, Texas did something. It went to the Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court refused to hear it. And then California passed a bill. No worries. California passed a bill in direct opposition to my initiative, AB 976 in 2007, after Escondido copied it, because what my initiative would have prohibited illegal aliens from renting to, prohibited landlords from renting to illegal aliens, among other things. So, long story short, after Obama got elected and stuff like that, I kind of got the movement burned out. Being an activist is kind of rough, right? Yeah. And then when Trump got elected, I got a zap of energy and jumped back in it. And so in April, I started a new organization called American Children First. Mm-hmm. And my philosophy is very simple. You can't put America first if you're putting American children second.
That's right.
And things like DACA, I put American children second.
Oh,
and so I filed an initiative in the Yucaipa Calamasa School District in April that would have prohibited illegal aliens from attending K-12 education, and also required the parents of anchor baby citizens to pay a non-resident tuition fee. Now, it's got held up on some political mumbo-jumbo, and that's another story, and maybe we'll tackle it in another way soon. I got some other ideas in my mind. But you should note that actually an Oklahoma State senator just this week talked about doing something along the lines of reporting illegal alien school children to ICE.
Wow.
And I don't know if that's related to my initiative or not. If you heard about it, but I think we're going to start getting some more traction on it. Basically, what you guys need to know is Plyler v. Doe in 1982, we're picking up on the 35-year anniversary this next month. Plyler v. Doe was a Supreme Court decision, one of the worst decisions ever, that requires taxpayers to pay for illegal aliens to be educated in our K-12 system.
Yeah.
So we need to have that overturned. Now's a great time, I'm thinking, for us to put something into the court system, with Gorsuch being appointed to replace Scalia.
Really quick, talk about Torrance, what you're doing here.
Yeah. And then I think we're going to see maybe Kennedy retire here soon, maybe Ruth Bader Ginsburg come out.
Please, God.
Yeah.
So now's a really good time for activists throughout the country, especially outside the Ninth Circuit, to be putting some creative legislation, some creative efforts in place so we can start getting some challenges and getting up to the Supreme Court. So, I live in Torrance, by the way. I haven't really advertised that, but it's kind of out in the paper now. And so the latest project I'm working on is, it came to my attention that some activists have been trying to get Torrance to pass a resolution opposing the sanctuary state bill. And they've been reluctant to do that for some crazy reason. Well, I went to this city council meeting on Tuesday, and they had a proclamation/resolution for Bike to Work Week, or Bike to Work Day, which just boggles my mind that they can spend energy on that kind of resolution, but when it comes to protecting American citizens from being victimized by illegal aliens, apparently it's not worth their time. So, the latest idea I'm working on, I just sort of unveiled today with a letter that I sent to the city council and dropped off to the city manager, is going on a Defund the Sanctuary City campaign. So in California, not most, but many cities have something called a utility user tax. And what that means is we all pay taxes on our utility bills, whether it's our electric bill, our cell phone bills, our cable bills, and whatnot. So those provide a lot of revenue for many of these cities. Now, Prop 218 is a measure that was passed back in, I think, 1996 that...
You got one more minute.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, remember that.
That gives gives the people the right to put a measure on the ballot to repeal taxes. Now, what's really cool about Prop 218 is that in order to qualify a measure for the ballot to repeal these taxes, all you need to do is get 5% of the signatures, signatures equaling 5% of the votes cast in the last election in which the governor was elected. Now, in Torrance, that means there are only 33,000 votes that were cast in 2014, so you only need to get 1,650 signatures in a city of this size to put a referendum on the utility tax on the ballot. So I've impressed upon the council that they're running the risk of having us do that in retaliation for them not opposing the sanctuary state bill. And in Torrance, the UUT counts for around 20% of the general revenue budget, general revenue intake. So Arthur and I, we talked about implementing this plan in some other cities and talked about going on a defunding tour and putting some pressure on these communities to say, hey, you know, if you're going to not stand up for the American people, then the American people are going to lash out and take control and start retaliating.
Tell them your website really quick.
AmericanChildrenFirst.org and Facebook.com/AmericanChildrenFirst.
All right. Thanks so much, Joseph. Give him a hand, please. I'm going to switch it back to you really quick. Thank you so much.